Hi guys, how's it going? In this video we'll continue building our application, and we will add a show method which will give us a chance to see what's inside this project, and if there is any tasks we can see what tasks are there. Otherwise we will be able to create a new task which will be related to specific project. So let's get started with our editor, and the very first thing we need to do is create a method. So we'll go back to our project controller, and here somewhere here we have let's just find show method, which is resourceful route provided to us by Laravel by default. So in this method we are passing an instance of project. So basically when we click a particular project, for example I have another project, let's say guitar lessons, and we just want to make sure that the project that we are viewing, for example if I want to see what's inside this project, then I'm gonna have to pass in the project ID or project slug, so it opens up details of this project. So to do so we'll be passing in the project instance like so, and then we want to find out all the tasks related to this project. So by using this instance we can call tasks eloquent relationship method, and we will order by, let's just order by created at, so which means the latest one would be first created at, and then just get. It's that easy. Now in our model, for example if you look here, project and task models, a project, we declared these relationships in one of our earlier videos, and a project has many tasks, and then the inverse of that relationship, just in case if we want to look which this task belongs to which project, we had this one, task belongs to a project. So it's time for us to make use of those eloquent relationships. Then we want to serve a view, so return view, and in this view will be, let's just say let's just call it show projects dot page. So we have here, if we go inside here, we have pages, then we have projects, and we're going to be creating a new view here called show. So pages projects dot show, and let's just pass in this variable called tasks using PHP compat function, and also we'll pass in the project instance as well, which is this. We'll pass in as well because we want to display the description of the project, so we'll be making use of this instance as well. So let's just indent it a little bit, and now that job is done. We can close it, and let's open up a new file, create a new file here, and we'll call it show.blade. Now I'm creating it inside the projects folder, so it'll be part of the projects .show. So okay, now get rid of all this crap, and this is going to look pretty much same. So I'm just going to go in home and copy everything in the home. Like I said, once you lay down the foundation of your application, most of the stuff you can just copy paste and edit. You don't need to type code from scratch, which makes it a bit quick, and just paste it right inside the show.blade. Now what we want to do essentially is we'll be using same template, give it a title of show project, let's just say detail or details, whatever you like, and then here we're gonna use a slightly different sort of display on the top. So what we want to do essentially is we'll use the project name here because it's not really a projects heading anymore. So these are all the projects, and we are calling just a HTML rendered projects. But instead of that, when we go inside, we don't want to say projects anymore. We want to say swimming lessons. So name of the project we want to display. So we'll call it here. We'll render a blade variable. So let's say project, and we will call it a name. But then the name could be lowercase, uppercase. So I'm just gonna convert it to uppercase, which is UC words, a standard PHP function, and that's gonna convert my name to uppercase. And then today's date and time, we can leave that the way it is. It doesn't really make much difference for me. And right below that, I'm gonna add a paragraph tag, and I'm gonna give a class of text muted, which is just a bootstrap class. So if you don't know about bootstrap, just mention in the comments and I'll make some videos for the bootstrap. But I assume you have some prior experience with the bootstrap, because I would say you wouldn't touch Laravel unless you know pretty much PHP and bootstrap. So that is prerequisite for these videos. But just in case, if you're new, then you must have been doing a pretty good job with CSS so far. I like to use bootstrap, makes my life a lot easier. But if you're CSS ninja, you don't need to use bootstrap. You can do it all yourself. It's nothing but, just to mention here, just some classes. Text success is green, text muted is some kind of grayish silent text, and text danger is red. It's just some kind of class to make our jobs a bit easier. So we'll say this project was posted by. Now this is where it gets really interesting. In non-breakable space, give it a non-breakable space, because we're going to be displaying some value here. And I'm gonna say here, this is where it gets interesting. So I have an inverse of relationship that the project belongs to a user. So I'm gonna say give me the project, and then it has a user, it has a name. For example, here in the project we said a project belongs to a user, which means I can make use of this relationship, inverse relationship I can make use of. And I'm gonna say, sorry, that's why it's red, because it's NBSP, not NSBP. Okay, so I'm gonna say, let's just convert it to US uppercase words again, because I want to display in capital. So a project belongs to a user, and give me his name. I believe we are using name, not username. Let's have a look here. Yeah, we're using name, not username, so that will be good. And then just give a little bit of formatting. And here we're gonna say when was it created. So project, and then let's just say created at, and the created at timestamp, let's format it using PHP standard format function, and let's just format it to hours and seconds. And this A is gonna give us AM or PM, I think. And that will give us the date, the created at. That will give us time, and now I'm gonna need date. So I'm gonna call the same variable here up to here. I'm gonna call created at, and I'm gonna say format localized, which is again a built-in function, and percentage, I'm going to call it a. Now this is just standard PHP, this is just standard PHP, how to display different kind of dates, how to display different kind of how to format different kind of timestamps, and different kind of time, different kind of date. This is just standard PHP. You can just look up, and it's pretty easy, and I don't remember it by heart, but since I've used it recently, I just remember it. So that's going to display some kind of information for us. That's pretty good. Now the next thing we want to display is the description, because we haven't shown that description, and that's the only reason we are going inside the show method, because we want to see the display. We want to display the description of the projects. So let's open up another paragraph tag and give it a class of. I want to reduce the font size. I want to increase the font size slightly. So our font size, I have a built-in class inside our all.js, and if you use PHP Storm, it's going to start displaying some of the helper classes to you. These are all the helper classes you can use. So I'm going to use font 120, and here I'm going to display project DESC. I guess that's what we're using, description DESC. If you, yeah, DESC, that's going to display the description of the project. I'm not going to make it uppercase, just leave it like that and see what happens. I might give you here text capitalized, but it'll capitalize every word, so it looks a little bit different. Okay, next thing is we're gonna give here a breadcrumb, because in the last video here in trashed.blade we created a breadcrumb here. So let's just copy that, because it's going to be part of every time we drill deep inside our application. We want to make sure the breadcrumb is visible. I'm gonna just edit a little bit here, indenting, and because we're gonna be making copies of this. So we can go back to projects. Once we are inside the specific project, we can go back to the project. We're going to create another li, and that's going to be basically, I'm going to display here the uppercase words, and then I'm going to display here the slug, because I want to know how far inside I am in the projects. So projects / uppercase slug. Then I can see I'm inside a project, and which project? This project. But of course, when you click on that slug, it should take you to that on the same page, which is essentially going to be /show. And that should keep you on the same page. We'll have a look how it works. Otherwise, we may have to pass in the key here, because like so, and then we may have to pass in the key here using an array. At the moment, we'll just leave it to that and see what happens. Okay, projects, that's the /show. Let's see if it figures out itself. And because this is interesting, I'll show you why. The next thing we want to do is we're not really displaying like create a new project. We want to say create a new task, because we are already inside the project. So if there is a now when you're inside the project and you want to see if there are any tasks that are like trashed, then we can display trash tasks. But at the moment, we'll leave it to we don't really need that right now. We'll come back to that in a moment. Just comment out for now, comment in, sorry, and then this will be essentially find all the tasks that have been trashed. So we're gonna have to pass in, we're gonna have to do a lot of things. There are no tasks right now, so, and we haven't passed in this variable. It's gonna break our application. Just get rid of this for now. Or maybe leave it. Let's see what happens. And then here we want to say create tasks. The ID of the model window is going to be create tasks, and data dash toggle model plus, and everything else remains same. So that's going to let us create a new task. Once you are inside the project, you don't really want to display a button called create a new project. You're inside a project. You want to display a button create a new task. And then here we're gonna make use of the tasks variable that we just passed into our view. If you remember, we have passed in the tasks variable to our view, and we're gonna make use of that. If there are any tasks, then I would like to display the ID, name, author, and I want to display the tasks. Actually, this is going to be essentially going to be subtasks, because we'll leave it like that at the moment. Let's just see how the view looks like first before we make any changes. Once we can see some view, we can see our view, then we'll start making it better. So we'll run a loop over all that tasks variable, and for each task we want to output. So let's just double click this and press Command R, and that will put this variable here, and I'm going to change that variable to task. but I only want to do match case. I hope it doesn't do here. It does. Match case regex. If I do regex, it only selects exact match, and it does not select anything else. So I'm gonna do words. That's better. So change it. So that's changed to task. That's what I wanted. Projects, it's not touched. It's all good. Everything is good. Okay, good. Now we have yeah, pretty much everything is the same, you know, not much difference. Just give it a space here, and everything else remains same. Now when you're running task ID, and then we have the task name, this will be expanding in the future. For example, if you want to see this task, when you click on this task, you can go inside this task and see what this task does. So essentially it's going to be an anchor tag, and we're going to have to pass in the project slug as well as the task slug to be able to, for the model to be able to query which project and which task, and then it's going to display the task details. But for now we are building the view, task view, so we'll just leave it as it is. And then here, let's just, instead of calling task username, we'll call it project username. Sorry about that. And then here we'll call yeah, we can actually call task, but here we need to call subtask. We need to find that subtask, because in our tasks, task has a lot of subtasks, as you can see here. So we can find subtasks if there are any, and here we can change subtask. So we want to display the count of subtasks if there is any for a particular task. And then this is the standard method, you know, the created at and updated at timestamp. It's not going to change. I'm going to leave it like that. And then string to time, we're going to convert task due date. We're going to convert that to string to time, and then we're going to create from this timestamp. We're going to create the date, and then we're going to display it diff for humans method on that date. So that's it. And then same thing, pending and completed, and some buttons, and of course these controller methods, I'm gonna leave them right now the same, otherwise we'll get errors. Essentially they are going to fire task controller at edit and task controller at hide, but right now I'm gonna leave them like this so it won't break our application. And this is going to be, of course, going to be tasks, because we haven't created any, and new task. Let's just go and have a look. I just want to see the view, like how it looks like, because we haven't really seen anything inside our show method. So once I refresh the application, this should change to a hyperlink, and if it doesn't, then we're gonna have to go back to our home.blade, and here we have project name. This is essentially going to change to an anchor tag, because that's what's going to fire the show method. So to do so, all we have to do is basically let's just add an anchor tag, and that's going to fire action and project controller at show method. And it requires it needs to know which project you're talking about, so pass in the project slug. When you pass in the project slug, it can query that model and present to you, and then anchor tag, end of the anchor tag, you bring here, so this particular project. So let's go ahead and refresh our browser and see if it improves. And it does improve. They are now anchor tags. Now I'm ready for some errors. Are you? Because every time we do something new, the error pops up. So let's see what happens now. I'm hoping something will, yeah, of course. That's the part of the game. So on line number 8, undefined variable task in show.blade. So let's go back, because when I did these changes, I'm going to close this on line number 8. When I did, of course, the task name is not possible here because we haven't really looped over the variable. This is actually a collection. You have to loop over it. So this was essentially changed by this replace eval. So I'm gonna go back to project, and here project, and here project username, and project, and project. Sorry about that. Don't follow me if you're doing the same thing. You can save a lot of time doing this task again, you know. But I just made a mistake. Okay, that should be enough because we have given enough details. Now it says undefined variable project. The reason is in here we have a compact project. That's fine. And in here we have project name. So pages projects show. Actually these are separate variables, and I made a mistake here. I just put quotes like yeah, it's so stupid. They are separate variables, and now it should like, it doesn't like, it likes, but we need to still pass in the today and current time. In the next video I'm going to show you these common variables like this current time and today. They are pretty much required in every single method. For example, show method, and for example here or somewhere else. I just saw somewhere else, for example, completed, I don't know. So how to pass in, for example, trashed, you know, trashed view. So how to pass them in our constructor. We're going to create a constructor. We're going to pass them to the constructor. So that way we just pass in once and it'll be available to every single method and every single view. But for now, let's just put it manually, and let's just get going because here, sorry about that. And here I'm going to pass in current time and today. So that's going to be current time and today. And let's refresh and see if project's trashed. Of course, I was gonna comment out that, but or how about we pass in project's trash as well. Although it's going to be tasks trash in the future, because if we are inside a project, we're talking about the tasks only. But at the moment, we will not make our video more complicated, and we'll focus on creating a show method for the projects. We are not really focused on the tasks right now. We are focused on the project show. Once we see something on the screen, we'll have a chance to play with it. So line number 99, undefined variable projects, and here it says undefined variable projects. Undefined variable projects. If you don't like to troubleshoot these things, yeah, of course, here. So this is the part of the game, you know, the troubleshooting is part of the game. And more you troubleshoot, more you're going to learn. I've never heard a single programmer who wrote an application and he never saw this screen. You know, this is part of the game. So don't worry. If you can solve the problem, you can build something, as long as you can solve the problem. Good programmers don't give up. They keep fighting. And perseverance is the key. And what does it want to complain now? Now it complains line number 38. Ooh, line number 38. Where is it? Here. So count of tasks. Ooh, let's have a look again. So undefined variable in the side navigation. In the side navigation, we have to, like the previous video, I think, we have to pass in the projects as well, because that's how side navigation works. This problem will be solved in the next video, because I'm going to show you how to pass them in the constructor. That way you don't need to worry about them. They will be always available to your view no matter what happens, because we'll be passing them to our constructor, and then they are always there. So side nav can find them, and any other thing that's using any of the variable can find them. Okay, looks like we are inside. That's a good news. So at the moment we don't have any tasks, so we are able to create a new task. But of course we'll talk about tasks in a minute, because before we create them we have to register some routes, we have to do nesting, and so that the relationships will come naturally. And of course, we don't have model windows in place, and it cannot find anything because we have changed the ID of the model window. And this is showing how many projects you have in the trash, not the tasks that you have in the trash, because we don't have any tasks right now. So that's nothing. This is just a view. We are inside this project. That's the slug, and we can go back to this the main screen from here. We can go inside this one, guitar lessons, and see that the slug is here. And this is the description: learn to play guitar. This is, I created this at this time and this date. So try to get to this screen. In the next screen, we will work on passing in the common variables in our constructor of our controller, so they are available to all the views in that controller. And then we will start working on our tasks. Everything else related to projects is finished. So that's the good news. Congratulations if you made so far. And from this point on, it's all about relationships, the really challenging stuff, and everything else, the formatting is pretty much going to be copy and paste and copy and paste. Nothing special about that. So thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video. Make sure to comment, subscribe, and like. Have a good day.